Lesson 7.2 starts on page 5 in your notes packet. It's called Equations with Adjacent and Vertical Angles. So going back to the previous lesson, vertical angles we learned are going to be congruent to each other. So they are going to have equal measures. Adjacent angles are not exactly useful unless we specifically have a special pair of adjacents, which are a linear pair. And if you remember, linear pairs add up and they are equal to 180 degrees. So you have angle 1, whatever it is, plus angle 2 equals 180. When we do vertical angles, we're going to be setting up equations, and we're just going to have the first angle is equal to the second angle. We are writing and solving equations for these, so you are going to need to show work on these ones because there's a little bit more work involved in them. So in the first set, I noticed they're opposite each other, so these guys are vertical, which means that I'm going to have the setup blank equals blank, and in those two blank spots, I'm going to go ahead and put in my variables and my angles. So my first angle is 2x plus 4, my other angle is 100. And I'm going to go ahead and solve my equation then. So I'm going to end up with 2x equals 96. So x is equal to 48 degrees here, dividing through by 2 on both sides. For the next example, they're not opposite each other. They do actually form a line. So we can call these LP for a linear pair. Linear pairs get set up blank plus blank equals 180. Plugging in the blanks, my first angle is 5x. My other one is 115. So if I go ahead, subtract the 115 from both sides, I get 5x is equal to 65. Dividing through by 5, I get x is equal to 13 degrees. This last one on this line here, these are opposite each other, so these are going to be called verticals. So blank equals blank. Setting up, I have 3x minus 35 is equal to 130. I'm going to go ahead and add 35 to both sides. Solving my equation. Divide through by 3. And x is equal to 55. Ooh, can't write here. 55 degrees here in this example. For the next one, these are opposite each other, so these are going to be verticals. So I'm going to have blank equals blank. 5x is equal to 45. Yes, this is easy. Divide through by 5, but show your work anyway. X equals 9 degrees. These two here are a linear pair, so I'm going to add them together. So I have 4x plus 3 plus 77 equals 180. If you still find yourself, it's better if you do the blank plus blank equals 180. Do that and then fill them in. I'm going to kind of skip back and forth and jump between the two options. So I'm going to combine my like terms here first. So I get 4x plus 80 equals 180. Subtract 80 on both sides, and I'm going to get 4x is equal to 100. And we're going to go ahead and divide through by 4. We get x equals 25. Excuse me, degrees. Last one here, these guys are a linear pair. So we're going to have x plus 58 plus x plus 21 is equal to 180. And combining your like terms, I have 2x, and 58 plus 21 is 79, equals 180. So we're going to take away 79. 2x is equal to 101. Divide through by 2. And we get x is equal to 50.5 degrees. All right, and on page number 6 then, up at the top here, we have two different examples. I'm going to actually use the vertical angles here. So that would tell me that 2x plus 2 is equal to 130. Subtract away my 2. 2x is equal to 128. Divide through by 2. X is equal to 64 degrees. And even though I solve for x, I don't want to necessarily use that to solve for the y. So I'm going to use the fact that these two are also verticals. So I'm going to have 3y minus 10 is equal to 50. Adding 10 to both sides. 3y equals 60. Dividing through by 3, y is equal to 20 degrees here. One last piece that I want to talk about in today's lesson is the fact that we have these angles around the point. And we alluded to this in the previous lesson, but if you start at one spot and you go all the way around, you're going to end up doing 360 degrees. So what you can do here is you can add up the pieces that you have, 45 plus 75 plus 160. That's going to give you 280. And then you can take the 360, take away the 280, and you're going to be left with 80 degrees. So this missing spot is 80 degrees. Final one over here. Add up the pieces that you have, the 22, the 73, the 125. And that's going to give you 220. So you'll start with your 360, take away your 220, and you're going to be left with 140 degrees. And that is it for lesson 7.2 then.